Hello there, top of the morning to you. Mr. Dalton here. I'm just kidding. It is Mr. Dalton. In light of St. Patrick's Day, I am making a dish called feelinces. So let me tell you how this works. Well, it also goes by sarma, or it's basically a cabbage roll. Okay, so we have ground beef, ground pork, bacon, rice, onions, eggs, and then some seasonings. Alright, so let me show you how this works. I got a big Tupperware bucket here. We're going to add the meat first. So right here I got some ground beef, about a pound of it. And I'm going to throw that bad boy in there. I don't want that piece of paper in there. I don't think that tastes very good. Got my garbage right there ready to go. Okay, next, ground pork. That's about a pound of ground pork. Throw that bad boy in there. Go on. Next, we got some bacon. Now the bacon, you don't just want to have big chunks of bacon in there, so I got to cut it up. And I wanted to show you a little trick of how I cut up bacon. Okay, so I took this out of the freezer a little while ago. And I didn't want a whole pound, I just wanted a half of a pound. So I cut it in half. And I put the other half in the freezer, okay, for my breakfast later. And now I have all these bacon strips together. And when they're still a little bit cold, it makes it pretty easy to cut them. Should have done it a little sooner, but it's still really not that bad. I'm using it's technically a cheese knife, but it's my favorite knife. Make sure you are keeping your fingers out of the way when you're using knives. Okay, but simple as that. I got a bunch of little chunks of bacon here now, and I can add them to the bucket. Alright, next, time to cut the onion. Move that over. So my counter space is a little limited, so I had to improvise. So cut me some slack, alright. Alright, so I got my onion here. Take off some of these big chunks of wrapper. Hopefully I don't cry. I like to take off both ends. Then I cut it in half. And then I shred off all of the onion wrappings. This one's giving me a little trouble. Hold on. There we go. Same with the other side. All right, now cutting the onions. So I do slits this way, and I keep them all close together so that I can cut it the other direction. Boom, it's all together. I turn it that way, and now I can cut it this direction, and I get a bunch of little onions, diced onions basically. Same one here. Again, watch your fingers. That's also why I like this cheese knife, is it's serrated, which means it has little edges on here, and it prevents my knife from slipping at all. Perfect, and I'm not crying. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna add all these. Next, I'm gonna add a couple eggs. So the amount of this varies. Sometimes when I make this for my whole big family, I'm using like 2 pounds of meat. And so that just means I add, I'll do maybe 1.5 onions, maybe 2 onions. I'm gonna do 2 eggs. Oh, my eyes are getting a little watery. Dang onions. Alright, I'm gonna crack this. I'm gonna be creative here. Look at that, I just used the back end of my knife to crack my eggs. I'm gonna wash my hands really quick. Actually, I don't need to, it's fine. Okay. Eggs. Next, rice. So I got a bag of rice here. I need at least 1 cup. And then I will mix it around and do kind of the eyeball test. Oh my goodness. It's like perfectly 1 cup. 1 cup of rice. And now a little bit of seasoning. So I have some minced garlic here. And I'm just gonna put about a teaspoon in. So my small spoon in my kitchen is usually about a teaspoon. My big spoon in my kitchen is usually about a tablespoon. Okay, without actually having to use the actual, measuring spoons. So there we go. And then I have the meat is already pretty salty, so I'm not gonna add much salt, if any. But I do have a bunch of seasoning that is very, very low on salt. It's from a company called Flavor God. And this one's called Garlic Lovers. And so I'm gonna add some of this. It's got a few other things in it. It's got some onion powder. It's got some parsley flakes, a little bit of pepper. I believe it has some chili powder. Yeah. Okay, and then lastly, some Worcestershire sauce. Okay? Everybody knows how to say that word. But I'm going to add about, I don't know, I'd call it 2 tablespoons. Boom. Alright. So, we got this big bowl, and now it's time to mix it all together. Okay? So, wooden spoon. Yeah, right. That's what these are for. Okay? Get your hands in there. Mix it all up. This is the most fun part of the whole thing. Okay? Don't be afraid to squeeze it around. Maybe do some flips like that. Okay, you want to make sure to mix all the ingredients really well, because you want all of the meatballs basically to get every ingredient. Okay? The only downside is that hands are getting really cold. And I need to add more rice, definitely. So I'll try to give you a little look here of what it looks like, and then I'll add more rice and show you what I want it to look like. After I warm my hands up too. Okay, so everything's mixed up pretty good. I do want a little more rice. I'm gonna pause this video really quick. All right, got some more rice here ready to go. About another cup. So the good thing about making this kind of stuff is the measurements don't have to be exact. Unlike baking, when you're baking stuff, everything needs to be exact, right? And you could also improvise with this. So if there was, I don't know what else you could add to it. Maybe you want to add some sort of bean to it, maybe, or I don't know, another vegetable. But you can improvise with this stuff because that's the fun of cooking. Why not, right? So that's looking a lot better. I don't know if you can see, now you can see little rice flakes everywhere. Okay, that's what you want. All right, so we're cruising here. I had a head of cabbage and I boiled some water and then I let it sit in there so it kind of softens up. And what I did is I cut out the inside, the big stem, so that now I can pull all these leaves off. Okay, I got one right here and I can take these off. It is really hot, so you want to be careful. And I'm not going to be able to get all of them off, most likely. So I get as many as I can, and then I can throw it back into the boiling water, and it'll kind of loosen everything up again. Okay, but see, since I cut out that center, now all these are able to peel off, which is just what I want. Pretty good. I'm going to toss that back in there. Alright, so this part's kind of fun too. It's like wrapping a present. So, I got my cabbage roll. Okay, I'm going to get some of the meat mixture and I'm going to form it into kind of an oval meatball. Okay, sizes can vary. I start at the end where the stem is, and then I roll that up, and then I push in the two sides, just like that. And now it looks like a nice, pretty cabbage roll. I have a cookie sheet here that is going to hold all of them. I'll show you one more here. This is a little smaller one. So if the cabbage leaf is a little smaller, I don't grab as much of the mixture, right? Okay, simple as that. Look how pretty that is. All right, so I got all my rolls made. Look at those, they're beautiful. Okay, and I had a little bit of leftover meat mixture, so I just made some meatballs. Okay, and that's gonna work out just fine. Okay, so now we're gonna put it all in the pan and let it cook. Okay, here's a little trick. If you have trouble opening jars, okay, grab a spoon, and when you hear the pop, now the jar, man, I could have done that with my pinky. Okay, so at the bottom of the pan, this is sauerkraut. The bottom of the pan, I'm going to put some of this. And then I'm going to layer in some of these cabbage rolls. I don't want them touching. I want to give them a little bit of space so they can cook on the outsides. Might mix in some big ones and some small ones. Okay, I don't know if you can see that a little bit. Okay, then more sauerkraut. Pretty good. Another layer. So I'm going to save a couple of big ones. I'm going to freeze those. And now throw in some meatballs. And top it off with more sauerkraut. What's up, Milo? Milo's my cat. He's awake. He was napping over there. What's up, dude? It's not dinner time for you yet. Sorry. All right, that's looking perfect. Okay, then I'm going to fill these jars with water, and I'm going to fill this up until the water comes right up to the top of where all the sauerkraut and feelences are. Alright, so I got this full. It's got water up to the top. You can kind of see it jiggle when I move it like that. Okay, I'm going to throw it on the stove and I'm going to bring it to a boil. And then once it gets to a boil, I'm going to turn it down. And it needs to cook for a solid like 4 or 5 hours. When I do this, I usually make this the day before. So I'm going to let it cook tonight. I'm going to put it on low until I go to bed. And then I'll turn it off. And in the morning, I'll turn it back on. And it's delicious. Okay, but I'll pull one of these out later tonight and show you what it looks like. Alright? Alright, we're back. This thing's been cooking for a while, and I'm pretty sure it's done. It's so good that there's rays of light just shining through the clouds because of how good this is. So, I'll get a little, well, you can't really see, I'm going to spill it. But I'll get a little bite out here for you. It's gonna be really hot. Check that out. Oh my goodness. Oh, hot. Careful, don't burn your tongue. Ooh, man, that is good. Bon appetit.